Have you ever found yourself dealing with adversity? Maybe it's a day, a week, a month, maybe it's a year. Tonight on Arisen Strength, the motivational podcast, we're going to be talking to Erin Kavanagh of Courage to Shine. It's all about inspiration through awareness and motivation, so let's get to it because your time is right now.
You know I can't recall the day your dream became my life. I've lived an eternity with you by my side. Like the sun and the moon, I've seen that your light reflects mine. And riding together we have conquered the skies. But for so long I failed to see the truth as I searched for a fantasy that lived within you. Said, how did you know that you'd be my angel when your wings were trapped into my heart? Where did you see that we would be wonderful and our dreams would live where we are?
Hello, I'm Shane Schultz, and this is the Arisen Strength Motivational Podcast. Folks, we do this show because we feel there are far too many dreams, talents, and capabilities that are being suppressed for whatever reason. Whether it be injury, illness, or life experiences, these are all situations that can have us being robbed of what it is that makes us special and unique in this world, and that's our passions. Here at Arisen Strength, we encourage people to pursue their passions in spite of the challenges they face. Now, how we do that is with our three-pillar concept. Number one, we support. Number two, we empower. And after all that work, number three, we have the right to celebrate. Folks, that's the Arisen Strength concept. Our goal is to help you be more than the challenges you face. But I don't do this show without my good friend. His name is Wayne the Hack Hacker. Hey, Wayne, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Shane. I'm kind of in the middle of a lot of life changes, as we've talked about here on the show. Been working on losing a lot of weight, which has really been affecting mental health. And I'm officially over 200 pounds lost now. So that's a big milestone.
Woo! Yeah, baby. That is awesome.
You know, this initial goal is trying to lose 300 pounds. So hopefully by the, come Christmas time, I should be nestled up against that 300-pound mark. We'll see. I'm not going to push it. It's a little bit of progress every week. And as long as I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to keep getting the results that I've been getting, which at this point in the last year have all been good news. I'm also moving, as you know. I've already moved out of Albany. I'm spending this week in Rochester, New York, final victory lap, saying goodbye to people. And Tuesday morning, I have a 5:40 a.m. flight, and I go down to North Carolina.
Wow. It's amazing what the difference what a year makes. I already miss you. I miss you here, even though that we talk a lot. But I miss just having you around the area, what I'm going to have to get used to, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely going to take a while for me to get sort of used to the big changes. You know me for years, right? I don't like change. I don't, If things don't change at all, I'm happy. And I know that that's something I have to fight against because we talk about it here. Change is part of life. Life is meant to be dynamic. Things are supposed to be happening in your life. It's not just existing. If things aren't changing, then you're just existing. You're like a rock. You're just something that just sits there and you just exist. We want to up that to living. And so this past year has been about making lots of changes and living. And it's really starting to feel a lot different. And I could feel it in myself. People are noticing. I get a lot of comments about pictures that I post and people say, I really like that you're smiling. I really like that you're smiling. And I didn't even really notice that. But yeah, I smile a lot more when people see me.
Yeah. Yeah, you absolutely do. Yeah, because your other pictures beforehand, it was almost as if like the sun was in your eyes or something like that, where you would like wince or something like it just was a different look. And now that you have made the changes that you've made, it's definitely a difference. And I am so very proud of you for what it is that you are doing. We've also been doing quite a bit with the network, what it is that's been changing over the past year as well. We launched our new website on Monday. It is speakingtheheart.org. what'd you think about that?
Oh, it's a beautiful site. It's really easy on the eyes. It's very, very intuitive. Too many times I go to websites and I want to try and navigate them, and the site's too busy, overloaded with information, but it's never the information that I want. I just feel really stuck and frustrated dealing with a lot of sites. And this is a really beautifully designed site, gorgeous pictures, nice colors, easy on the eyes. It looks great on mobile and on PC, laptop. Really beautiful site.
Yeah, we're very, very happy about it. We got a lot of things going on. We got the podcast, obviously, but we also have a significant blog that we're going to be putting together as well. And we have our special events page. Speaking about special events, we got a special one coming up this next Sunday.
It's Mental Health Awareness Month, right? For May. And so what do we got going on there? It sounds like, I heard of it. There's a lot of names floating around, and this is going to be a big production.
Talk about stretching. Here's the deal. What we're doing is we're going to have a live show. And it is going to be awesome. Let me tell you about the cast. We've got Gabe Howard, Chrissy Hodges, Janine Huff, Z Malvern, and Jacob Moore. It's living with mental health from a patient's point of view. And it is really going to be awesome with that cast. Like Jacob had mentioned in our interview, it's really kind of the brain trust, talking about what it is that mental health is really about. I think we have a pretty significant, diverse cast there in order to be able to cover a lot of different subjects when it comes to mental health. It's going to be live. We are going to be simulcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and yes, Twitter. We have a few different softwares that we're using all at the same time in order to be able to get this done. We're going to be doing a few different tests this week in order to get prepared for that. So, for those who follow us and everything like that, you can be part of the background scenes of what it is that we're getting set up for next Sunday. It's really going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this multi-platform. People are on Facebook, people are on Twitter, people are on YouTube. It's going to be really, really easy to follow along with this live video cast. It's going to be video, right?
It's going to be video, yep.
This is not just audio experience. It's going to be a video experience. We'll be able to see our guests. We won't be all sitting in the same room around the same table. We're going to be coming together, again, using modern technology, but it's going to be just like we're all in the same room. It's, a round table discussion, where the round table, I guess, is the planet Earth.
That's a good way of looking at it, because we have the Zoom room and we have the capacity of 50 people to be with us live, possibly participate in the show, depending on time-wise. But then we are going to simulcast it on those different platforms, both Facebook, YouTube being the larger ones. And then, of course, we got Twitter, which is something new. It's a different new software that we're going to be using, kind of like an ad hoc type of thing, in order to be able to get it on there at the same time. So it's going to be really cool. Another thing that's going to be really cool is that we are going to have music from Sapphire Rain. Now, we've been talking about Sapphire Rain for the past month now, and how we're featuring them on the Speaking of the Heart Network, April and May. And this is the reason why, because they have a number of songs that have their lyrics that focus in on mental health subjects and topics. They're very, very passionate people who really want to make a difference for those out there dealing with some of the things that we deal with, Wayne. I mean, when it comes to depression, when it comes to self-harm, when it comes to suicide prevention, they have these songs that fit in those topics, and they're very passionate about it. The two of them are Austin and Amanda. They are really cool, being rock stars, but also at the same time, they still have that humanity portion of them, which really works out well.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing more of their music. It's great to be able to bring artists in to sort of complement what you and I do. I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, and nobody wants to hear me sing. In fact, I could probably make a living by not singing. People will pay me not to sing, given the opportunity, or make music. And so, yeah, it's really nice to be able to bring in different artists. It's another way to bring that message out. Probably the most important way to communicate a lot of important messages.
What's really awesome about them is that they sound amazing, right? They sound like something that you would hear on your radio station, and they've been played on the radio all over the place, but they're using lyrics that are really some hardcore topics. So it just really fits with this particular special event, as well as the Speaking of the Heart Network all together. They want to help others just like them, and at the same time, they're doing it in their way. They're doing it in their platform. We do it through a podcast. They do it through their music. Another thing that I want to mention is that our guest last week, Jacob Moore from nostigmas.org, their ally program, of which we talked a lot about in the beginning of last week's show, that is going to be launching tomorrow, May 1st. So if you haven't gone to nostigmas.org to go ahead and sign up for their newsletter, you want to do that today so that you can be notified when they're launching tomorrow.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. I signed up. I'm ready to go. They do great things. And we talked about it last week. I mean, I don't want to take up Erin's show this week talking about last week's show, but Jacob, his videos are really, really packed full of great information. They're short, 5-minute videos, 8-minute videos. Not just him, but his whole team. Lots and lots of valuable information in there about self-care and about advocating for other people. All that support, empower, celebrate, all our pillars built right in. It's just a great fit with them. I really do enjoy the No Stigmas people.
Yeah, I definitely do too. And they take action, which is really cool. Jacob's a good friend of mine, and I wanted to make sure that we give everybody an opportunity to be able to get on their newsletter so that not only can they hear about the launch tomorrow, but also the other events that they have planned throughout the summer as well as throughout the year. It's really kind of cool what they do. So definitely want to do that. All right. So you mentioned Erin.
You mentioned taking action. You talk about taking action.
Woo, baby. Yeah, that's my girl. Erin Kavanagh, folks. She is pretty amazing. What'd you think about the interview, Wayne?
She has a very compelling story, and I think people are going to be blown away. You talk about, overcoming adversity and being more than the challenges that you face. From when she was born, she had challenges, hard to believe. She was a tumor that was more than half her body. She was just a little tiny baby with a giant tumor. And that was just the start.
There's not much that makes me speechless. Let me put it this way. This interview is really one that did a number of different times. I had to take a moment and say, because I was listening so intently as to what it is that she was talking about. And it wasn't just about her birth. It was also about throughout her life, about what it is that she does. So it's going to be really amazing. So why don't we get right to it?
Yeah, sounds great.
Folks, this is Erin Kavanagh from Courage to Shine, and we want to mention our friend Tom, who brought her to us. Here it is. I'm here with my good friend. Her name is Erin Kavanagh. Hey, Erin, how are you today?
Good. How are you, Shane?
I am doing really awesome. We have been having some wonderful, wonderful interviews, and I know that having you here today is just going to be another one.
Thanks so much. Good to be here.
Okay, so Erin Kavanagh is part of the Courage to Shine series, of which we are doing all year long. Our good friend Tom Exler actually introduced Erin to us, but I got to tell you, I was actually looking at the YouTube video before Tom even mentioned Erin to me, and folks, we're in for a real interesting interview. So Erin, tell me, how is it that you were part of Courage to Shine? How did you get started?
Tom actually reached out to me when I moved here to Pittsburgh for school. I attend Carnegie Mellon. Tom and I both went to the same summer camp called the Youth Rally, and the Youth Rally is a camp for kids with bowel and bladder disorders, and we're all sort of like a second family over there. So when he reached out to me, I was really excited to meet up. When we were there, he started talking about his blog, and it sounded like such an amazing thing. So when he asked if I wanted to write a story for it, I was more than happy to.
Excellent. So you don't just become part of Courage to Shine without having some adversity. So what type of adversity have you gone through?
I have a number of medical conditions that have sort of stemmed from when I was first born. So I was born 2 months premature with a condition called sacrococcygeal teratoma. That's basically a fancy word for a spinal cord tumor. It's at the base of the spine. The thing about teratomas is they grow very large. So when I was born, mine was actually 4 pounds and I was only 3. It was using a lot of my blood supply, so it was very imperative that they remove it quickly. It was also classified as malignant, so that became very important to remove all of it. Sort of as a result of this tumor and its removal, I have had to have a number of other surgeries to correct for it, and that has left me with a number of medical conditions, including an ostomy and a metrophenol, that's a bowel and bladder diversion, and some nerve damage in my legs.
Wow. Okay. All right. So we're talking about adversity into triumph here. Okay. So you had a tumor that was as much or if not more than what it is that you weighed at the time, because when you came out of the womb, you had this adversity right off the bat.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-boggling how big it was.
Wow. Okay. All right. What happened then? I mean, it's like, man, your parents had to be going out of their mind. I mean, not only to have a tumor, but then to find out that it's malignant and that it was, as you were talking about, it was very vascular. So your blood supply was very much involved. So while removing it, obviously you're going to bleed out. I mean, you're a miracle.
Thank you. Well, yeah, like you said, when they removed it, it did cause me to bleed out twice, but they were able to restart my heart. Luckily enough, I had a great team of surgeons on my case. And after 2 surgeries, they were able to debulk the whole tumor. It did reoccur when I was about 1.5 years, but the section that did reoccur was benign. Initially, they were going to give me chemotherapy and radiation, but it was highly debated because of how young I was. It would have had very adverse effects on my growth and development. So it was basically a wait and see game. They told my parents they could take the risk, but I would probably sustain kidney damage, become deaf, and face a lot of cognitive delays, or they could wait and see because this type of cancer was so aggressive that it might not respond to the chemotherapy that they gave me. So my parents took the risk and it turned out pretty well.
Boy, I'd say it turned out pretty well. Wow. Okay. All right. So now you're sitting there. Are you even aware of what it is that you're going through at such a young age? I mean, I remember being young, but I also don't remember some things that happened when I was young. So are you aware that you were going through these type of challenges, or is this something that you were basically had to be told eventually as you started to become aware?
That's a good question. My parents were really great about this whole situation. And I remember my very early memories. I do remember being in the hospital. They had to serial cast my legs because my bones weren't growing straight. So I always had casts on my legs. But I remember being so excited to pick out the colors. And I remember being really excited to get glow-in-the-dark ones. And when I had to have a really big surgery when I was 4, this is sort of one of the big memories I have. Being in the hospital, they had to operate on my hip. So I was in a full body cast, but it was purple. And when I got back to school, all the kids wanted to sign my cast. And I was so excited to have like all of this room for all their signatures and for them to draw on it. And then when it came around to Christmas time, I couldn't move because this thing was just like chest to toe. So my dad put me on a little boogie board and I could like roll around the living room, and he set up a little station for me to paint Christmas ornaments. So little things like that. My mom and dad really helped me distract from the negative side of it and turned it into put a positive spin on it. So even though I do have memories of being in the hospital, because a lot of my early life was spent there, I was always excited about something.
Wow, it's kind of funny because you talk about casts, and I haven't thought about one in a while, but anybody who's listening to the show that's from my childhood, they know that I had 4 broken arms. So I had plenty of casts that were getting signed on all the time. So I can definitely identify with what it is that you were talking about there. Man, it sounds like your parents really were pretty important in your life in the very beginning stages, not only as parents, but also as, I don't know, encouragement to keep moving forward, even though that you were dealing with the adversity that you were dealing with.
That's definitely right. They were really instrumental, I think, in helping me become the person that I am today. I really liked how they gave me this perspective where I felt like I could do anything as long as I worked hard enough. And there was always a way to do something, even if I had to do it a little differently.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, using a boogie board, that's a pretty cool idea. It really kind of emphasizes what we talk about here at Arisen Strength is kick the can. That's what I always talk about is kick the can, live in the can. And a lot of people say live in the can. I mean, that sounds a little bit weird, but it's kind of catchy, right? But the main thing is kick the damn can't. Kick it out of your way and start looking at things a little bit different, which kind of uses one of our foundations, which is the power of turning the thought. If you look at things from a different angle, you get different possibilities that are out there. There are a little bit more possibilities than what they might have started out to be. And it sounds like your parents, like you said, they were integral into your upbringing to not be, not be consumed from what it is you were going through at the time.
Exactly. like right on that. They both just were able to put a positive spin on it, and they still do that today. They weren't just my parents. They had to be my caregivers. There were just so many appointments they had to take me to in my first 3 years. And this was all being done at Johns Hopkins because it was one of the only hospitals in the country that would operate on me. Mm-hmm. And we had just moved to Massachusetts. So we were taking trips back and forth, these 8-hour car rides, like once or twice a month. Mm. And they did all of this for me without any second thought. I owe a lot to them.
And it's really cliche for people to say, well, yeah, it's your mother, it's your father, they're going to do that. Let me tell you something. What it is that you're describing, it's not in the average book of being parents. Right? Because, you know, I mean, when you decide that you're going to have a child and have that discussion, you kind of think that everything's going to be 100% fine. No, there's no problem. And we're going to do this. And, you know, I remember having a discussion with my fiance at the time to where it's like, okay, you know, a son, okay, we're going to be playing baseball. We're going to do all sorts of different things. And we have an ideal look at things, right? We have an ideal way of thinking of how things are going to be. And that's the way it should be, right? It's not wrong to do so. But then all of a sudden, and it's really all of a sudden, you find out differently that things are going to be totally different than what it is that you had in mind. It's really cliche to say, oh, yeah, well, the mother's going to do what it takes. Yeah, not necessarily. So really, kudos to your parents for doing what it is that they did with you. Not only bringing you to your appointments, but they seem to instill a kick the can't type of mental attitude to be able to get you further along than what you might have otherwise done if they just kind of accepted the fact that you were different and that you had some different things that you had to deal with and some challenges that you had to deal with.
Definitely. I just couldn't imagine going through everything that they did. Whenever they talk about those first few months, I can see how difficult it is for them because there were so many unknowns. I think that the hardest part is when you first have a baby, you just hope they're going to be healthy, they're going to be happy, but there's all those unknowns. And those, like, that week leading up to my mom's delivery was just amplified with this new diagnosis and all these uncertainties. I mean, I don't think any parent should have to be told that they shouldn't get too attached to their newborn because there's like less than a 15% chance of survival past age 3. Like, no parent wants to hear that. My parents are both exceptionally strong people. And like you said, they really went above and beyond taking care of me.
Well, that is very cool. Very cool. All right. So let's get back to talking about you because you are their pride and joy. So you have been dealing with some adversity through this for a while. You still are dealing with some things that are kind of stemming from what it is that you're going. Don't let me tell the audience. Why don't you tell the audience, what are some things that you still are going through, even though that, you know, you have this great mentality of what it is that you're doing? What are some things that you're still going through with the different types of conditions and struggles and challenges you're dealing with?
Definitely. So even though I've gotten past my initial diagnosis, I still deal with a lot of different conditions and routines that I have to perform in my everyday life to make it like quote unquote normal. So as a result of the tumor, I sustained damage to my bowel and bladder. So in order for me to have a more normal life and to basically be continent, they gave me a diversion in the form of a colostomy and a metrophenoff. A lot of people haven't heard of a metrophenoff. It's basically where they take your appendix and they make a channel from your belly button to your bladder, and then you're able to catheterize, and that's sort of how you go to the bathroom. I think it's really cool. I can pee standing up, which comes really handy sometimes. But I think there's also a stigma that a lot of people carry around because you don't really talk about going to the bathroom in everyday conversation, you know? So going through school, especially middle school, was very difficult. Kind of felt like I was carrying around this secret because I didn't want kids to make fun of me. I didn't want them to know I was different or I had these things on my side. I remember feeling very alone. And one of the things that really helped me was going to 2 separate camps, one of which is the Easter Seals Camp Horizon, which is in Bragg Creek, Alberta, Canada. The second one is the Youth Rally, which takes place at universities around the U.S. And Youth Rally's logo is "You are not alone." I really love that motto because it might sound a little cliche, but you don't realize the impact it has to meet people who are going through the same everyday routine as you are until you actually do, you know? that's really helped me establish confidence in who I am. I think without those camps, I would feel a lot more insecure about my medical appendages, about my scars. I wouldn't know how to talk to people about it because I wouldn't have had many interactions like that before. But camp really taught me to be sure of myself. And as long as you say it with confidence, people aren't really going to doubt you. So you're kind of like, it's as big of a deal as you make it. And so I'm really thankful that I've had both those outlets help me through not only talking to people about my bowel and bladder diversions, but also when I was diagnosed with new conditions. I was recently diagnosed with epilepsy, and that actually happened. I had a seizure on the plane coming back from camp, but everyone was so nice about it. When I woke up, they were all texting me, asking me if I was okay. And they were sort of with me through that process of like diagnosis and medication and tests. So it's just really nice to have a support network. And I think anyone who's going through any type of medical or psychological condition should really reach out to people because that support network is so important. And you don't realize how nice it is to connect with someone until you do.
Wow. Okay, folks, this is Erin Kavanagh. We are going to be right back. Hey everyone, this is Shane Schultz of the Speaking the Heart Radio Network. Hey, make sure to mark down on your calendar May 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the night that we're going to have a very special show all about mental health awareness. We've got a tremendous panel. It's going to be of 5 people. We got Gabe Howard, we got Chrissy Hodges, Z Malvern, Janine Huff, and Jacob Moore with some awesome music from Sapphire Rain. This is going to be a show that you are not going to want to miss. It's all about mental health awareness. It's called Living with Mental Health Through a Patient's Point of View. It's going to be bringing a lot of awareness to a subject that needs to be talked about. So make sure to join us Sunday night, May 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Speaking the Heart Radio Network. We're back here with Erin Kavanagh of the Courage to Shine series. She has been amazing, and she's been telling us about her challenges that she's been going through and how her parents have been able to instill in her a way of making forward progress despite what it is that she goes through. Erin, I know that we were talking about some things that you've had happen with you and still are having going on with you. You know, we haven't gone through all of them, right? But at the same time, there's also a lot of stuff that you've been doing that's outside of what it is that you're ailed by. So why don't you go ahead and tell us, who is Erin Kavanagh that's outside of what it is that you're ailed by?
Most certainly. So I really like to think that I'm more than my medical condition. So it's definitely not something I first share with people off the bat. If you ask me, what do you do? What are your hobbies? I'd probably start by saying I'm in school. I'm a sophomore at Carnegie Mellon University, and I'm studying chemistry with a biological sciences track, and I'm minoring in music and biomedical engineering. That's sort of a mouthful, but I love everything that I'm doing, even though it's definitely keeping me busy. When I'm not doing academics or studying, I'm on the CMU rowing club. It's a really big part of my life. I never thought that I'd be able to be on a sports team. So this is a really wonderful reminder that I have to myself that, you know, you can do anything you want. You just might have to do it differently. So I'm on the rowing team, and a lot of people know that rowing is one of the toughest sports out there. These people give it their all. My job on the team is I'm a coxswain, and the coxswain's job is to sit in the boat and basically give commands and sort of be a coach in the boat when you're rowing. So in most boats, the rowers are actually facing backwards, so they can't see where they're going. So it's also our job to steer the boat, as well as giving directions on technique and how fast they should be going. And this really helps them, set the pace of the boat and really get in a rhythm so they can go as fast as they want, because that's what we want. We want fast boats. So it's basically my job to yell at them It's pretty fun. I like it a lot. Special job of the coxswain, you have to be small, which is kind of funny because I never thought being 5 feet tall would come in handy. But, they want as little weight to the boat added as possible because they've already got all those rowers in there. So the lighter you are and the smaller you are, the better you fit in the coxswain seat. And when I'm not rowing, I'm playing violin in our school orchestra where I'm the secretary. I really love being part of that organization because not only do I get to play and we get to perform at the end of the year in a really nice venue at Carnegie Hall, we also get to practice every Sunday. And it's usually about a 4 or 5 hour commitment, which can seem like a lot of time, but it's actually a really nice outlet to have, when you've been working all week on academics and science and all those lab reports. It's really nice to have this escape where you can sort of let everything go and just express yourself in this beautiful music. Our concert director really does a great job of picking pieces. So it's always like almost relaxing to get to rehearsal and know that you can just forget about everything for 4 or 5 hours and just play.
Wow. Folks, this is coming from somebody who was told numerous times that she wasn't going to be able to do very much because of what it is that she was challenged by. She was told numerous times, that cognitively, that she wasn't going to be able to amount to much. Yet, you just heard a list that I dare say the average person does not do. And that's what Arisen Strength is really all about. It's about living life with purpose. It's about being more than the challenges that you face. So Erin has been amazing for us here, even before we started doing the recording of the show, because she is just one that does not take no for an answer. She says, listen, you tell me no, I'll show you why it's yes. And she has that way about her. And that's why it is that we have her on the show. I don't have to tell you that. You can hear her right from her own voice and her own story. I mean, just the fact that one of the things that she has difficulty with is walking, right? Erin, you were actually told for a time that you were not going to be able to walk for a while.
Definitely.
But you are indeed walking, but you still do have challenges, right?
Yeah, my legs tire very quickly.
Yeah, she actually has a leg that is very much compromised, and it's in a way that sports really isn't in the picture, yet she found a way. She found a way in order to be in a sporting environment, in a team environment, to enrich not only her life, but also her teammates' lives. See, that's what we're talking about. Not just by being more than the challenges that you face for ourselves, but for those who are around us, all around us, that can actually take an example of who it is that we are, because each and every one of us is special and unique in some special way. Just happens to be that Erin's special in a lot of different ways. Okay, tell me what it is that you have in mind for the future.
Well, I've got a lot of plans. I definitely know I'm very interested into going into medicine. So right now my plan is to go to medical school after I've completed college. I'm on a pre-med track right now. I'll probably take a year or two off in between just to, maybe do research or something like that, because going to medical school is a huge commitment once you're there. You don't have a lot of time for other things. So that's sort of my long-term goal. But in the next year or two, my plan is to stay healthy. It's sometimes out of your control if you can, quote unquote, stay healthy. And that might be different. That word might apply differently to us than to other people who don't have to go through numerous medical challenges. But to me, that word means I'm exercising, I'm eating healthy. And I think if I supplement my life with those as well, it really helps me stay positive about things, know that I'm doing the best that I can do without having external factors that I can't control, because there will always be those. So just staying healthy like that. I'm really excited to go to Germany this summer, where I'll be doing a research internship. I've never traveled abroad. Yeah, super exciting. That's going to be for 3 months in Germany. We're going to get to learn the language. We're going to get to adventure around Europe. So there's a lot of hidden opportunity there as well. So that's like a bit more of the short-term plan right now.
So did you choose to go to Germany, or was that the only option that you had, or was there anything specific to that?
Well, when I started looking around for things to do this summer, I decided that I wanted to adventure out of the U.S. Last year, I stayed on campus and worked in a research lab here where they're developing artificial lungs, actually. They're doing a really cool project with that. Really great research being done here in the biomedical field. But I decided that I wanted to pursue venues outside the U.S., and both my dad and my stepmom speak German. So I really wanted to improve my German skills as well, because I think it's really valuable learning another language. That's sort of how I came across this opportunity, and I was really happy when they accepted me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. You are doing things that are even outside of your comfort zone, right? You're looking for something that makes you grow and makes you come to a point as to where you're different than what you were the day before and the day before that. That doesn't come about just by any happenstance. That's our arisen strength. It's what is our venturist. You know what I mean? We're venturing out to find more of what it is that we can become, to find out more of what it is that the world can become. In your case, your contribution to it. Again, folks, you listened to the first part of the show. You heard about the damn list about what it is that Erin's been through, and you didn't even hear it all. Just like you who's listening to the show, you've got your list, right? It's not out of the norm for people to have chronic illness, chronic pain, and have a list of things that they go through. Some things that kind of make sense, some things that kind of don't really kind of fit, like epilepsy, right, Erin? Epilepsy really was something that you had thought you were going to be dealing with.
Definitely.
But it's something that happened, right? And so you have to make a choice. Now, how are you going to deal with this? Are you going to merely exist in life, or are you going to live life with purpose? And folks, can you tell that this young lady is living life with purpose? I mean, the people that we've been talking to with Courage to Shine, I mean, Kirsten Lupton and now Erin Kavanagh, and we've got more coming, I promise you. This is the reason why it is that we're doing this series. Even though that they have conditions that you might not have, you can learn from these people. Listen, they know what it's like to go through adversity. They know what it's like to then take their adversity and turn it into triumph. It takes a risen strength to turn it into triumph. See, that's why it is that we combine things together and we get to listen to wonderful people like Erin and her story. I mean, just the fact that she has found a way in order to be with a sporting team, or she's found a way in order to be in biochemics, or she wants to be an engineer, or she's going to Germany in order to learn more, in order to contribute more to our world. I mean, that's pretty damn amazing. But you can do it too. It's not just any one individual, oh, well, they're lucky, or, oh, they don't have to go through this, or, oh, well, they're a little bit stronger than I am. No. It's you have it in you. You have the arisen strength. You have what it is that Erin's got. You have what it is that Kirsten has. You just have to use it. You just have to find it. You have to unleash it, and you have to let it grow and have to let it find its way through your life to make life different, to make life more than the challenges that you face. And then you start living life with purpose, and then watch and see what happens. Kirsten told us right from the beginning what she went through. Same thing with Erin. Erin did a whole list of what it is that she's been through, but you hear it in their voice. They know what it's like to go through challenges, but they also know what it's like to feel life full. Erin, you're pretty amazing. You really are. And I got to tell you, when I saw your video on YouTube, and folks, I really do invite you to look at YouTube with Courage to Shine, because there's amazing, amazing people that have done videos there. And Erin did one where she's just sitting down in a chair and she's just having a chat. I think you were doing it with Tom, right?
Yeah, just chatting with Tom.
Just having a simple chat, and it's one of the more motivating videos you will listen to. Listen, this girl had a tumor that was 4 pounds, okay? Half bowling ball when she was born. She's been through these types of things, and yet, what else has she done? Well, she's been in sporting events. Well, she's going through being an engineer. Well, she's planning on doing more as far as being involved into the camps that she's involved with. She plans on doing more than what it is that she's already done today. She's going to Germany. She's doing these types of things. I don't have to tell you, Erin, what is it that you plan on doing in the near future? And then next thing you know, she gives a list. Well, here's what I'm doing now. Right? Here's what I'm doing in the short term. Forget about the long term. I've got that in my mind. But right now, what do we say here on Arisen Strength all the time? It's the right now. It came from where it is right now. When I sat there and I had the turn in my life, when I wrote the Risen Strength motivational piece in 2013, when I wrote that, my life turned around when I said, look into my eyes right now. That's what we're talking about. Your time is right now. You can do what it is that these young ladies that we've had so far on the Courage to Shine series have done. Erin, let me ask you a question. We all have some sort of motivational influence, right? I'm going to kind of box it in because I kind of think that your parents are probably going to be a motivational influence for you.
Yeah, you've already got me.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that. So tell me, who's a motivational influence for you that's outside of your parents? I mean, I have a number of different ones, like Muhammad Ali. I love Muhammad Ali and how brilliant he was, and not only as an athlete, but also as a mind. I mean, he really did have a mind. Einstein, I love. Who are some people that come to mind for you?
Well, I definitely have to say one of my very early childhood heroes, actually my neurosurgeon, but a lot of people know him now as Dr. Ben Carson, who is now very much on the political trail as Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Okay.
And he wrote several books. One of the first ones I read was his autobiography, Gifted Hands. And in that book, he talks about where he came from. He started off life with a number of challenges, not quite medical, but still things you have to get over, obstacles. So like he grew up in the slums of Detroit. He had anger issues, didn't do well in school at the beginning. And then he had this revelation. He realized he's not going to get anywhere if he keeps making excuses, if he lets his anger get out of control. So he starts making a change. He starts reading a book every week. By doing that, he was able to get himself into Yale University, then go on to Michigan Medical School, which is one of the best medical schools in the country. From there, he was able to transport himself from a boy in the slums of Detroit to the youngest head of pediatric neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins Hospital at the age of 33. He was facing all this adversity. Not only was he young, he was African American. People questioned his every move, but he knew he had a purpose there. And he used that strength to get him through all these challenges. And I really looked up to that as I was going through school. And I felt like sometimes I had all these obstacles ahead of me. But he really reminded me, you've got to take it one day at a time. And you got to remember that life begins when you're at the edge of your comfort zone. So do everything you can. Get out of your comfort zone. Take those risks. We all have that childhood hero, but I've also got people in my everyday life that I still look up to. And a lot of those people come from camp. Some of my closest friends, Annie and Tally and McCall, they all go to camp with me. Tally's one of the only people I know with the same condition, and she has the most beautiful attitude and spirit. Whenever you talk to her, you can't help but smile because she's just so bubbly. All of the counselors that I've met over the years that have given me this guidance, especially Tina, she has just always been there for me since I was really little, since I was like 10, until I became a counselor. And she always has this really wonderful advice for you, not just about your medical condition or how to tell your boyfriend about it or little things like that, but just about life in general, how to approach life and really get the most out of it with every day, because every day is important.
Can you tell why it is that we have her here on this show? I mean, you are amazing. You really are. Let's get right to it. If you were to leave a message for a group, or if you were to leave a message for people who go through what it is that you're going through, or just the average individual, what message would you want to leave them?
My message would be, remember life itself is a miracle, and remember that it's going to have its ups and downs. These ups and these downs, there might be a few that seem more than the other, but they're going to shape you. And they're going to shape you, but the negative parts don't have to define you either. So just remember, you are your own person, and while you might not have chosen this condition, you might not have chosen this life, you can choose how to live it.
What, are you trying to take my job? I mean, God, you could be an ambassador of Risen Strength without any problem whatsoever. You are amazing. You really are. For somebody who's been going through what it is that they're going through and still going through it, folks, let's not get it twisted here. Okay, you do not end up with a beginning that Erin had, and then all of a sudden, oh, everything is fine after a surgery or anything like that. That just, unfortunately, that's not the reality, right? It's not the reality of our lives, so why would it be for Erin? Okay, we all have gone through different things. Some people have gone through other things than what other people might not have gone through. Whether it be a medical issue, whether it be a mental health issue, whatever the case may be, everybody has had life circumstances setting them up for whatever reason. And it's like what Erin said, our circumstances and our situations that we've been through, they shape us, but they do not have to define us. And I can't say it any better than that. Honestly, I mean, whether it be injury, illness, or life experiences, what we go through, they shape us, but they don't have to define us. Boy, I might steal that from you.
Go right ahead.
Either that or I might put her to work. I'm not altogether sure. We're going to have to figure out something. You know what? It's been amazing having you here today. Really do want to work with you again in the near future. I can see you are going to make a huge difference in this world. You're going to make a difference not only to people that are going through the different challenges like you are, but also to people in everyday life, because you are making a difference in ways that are just unfathomable. I mean, being an engineer, doing the little things that you do on the other side, you know, like, I don't know, be a leader when it comes to rowing and such. I mean, you're just doing amazing things. I know you're going to make a big, big difference in this world. And I'm just so privileged to be able to talk with you today. And I really look forward to working with you again in the near future.
Thank you so much, Shane. It's been a pleasure being able to share my story on your show. I've been so excited to be able to talk to you, and I really love what you have going here. And I hope everyone who's listening that this helped you in some way.
You can learn more about the Arisen Strength Motivational Podcast at our website at arisenstrength.com. And remember, your time is now.
The sweetest moment of life I ever knew was when I opened my eyes and saw that you were my truth. Said, how did you know? How did you know? That you'd be my angel. My angel. When your wings were trapped into my heart. But where did you see? And where did you see? That we would be wonderful. And our dreams will live where we are. How did you know that you'd be my angel? When your wings were trapped into my heart. Where did you see that we would be wonderful? And our dreams would live where we are. How did you know that you'd be my angel? When your wings were trapped into my heart. Where did you see that we would be wonderful? And our dreams would live where we are. How did you know that you'd be my angel? When your wings were trapped in my heart. Where did you see that we would be wonderful, and our dreams